startups and fundraising. Right? So if you don't mind the recording, I guess Guillermo already told you that. Yes? Do you don't mind the session being recorded? If anyone does, please speak up. I guess no. Or as I like to call it, how to get money to market your research results. Okay, so let's begin. The first question that I would like to ask you is, why are you attending this workshop? And here we can present. So each of you, if you could please present what you're doing and why you're here, that would be really nice. So I'm seeing, for example, Rui.
Yes. So I'm Rui Ribeiro. I'm a researcher in the University of Verona, and I'm developing structural systems biology tool. So in order to improve some drug design pipelines. And I think that my tool has a good potential to the pharmaceutical companies and biotechnology companies.
Perfect. So Michael Hopkins, for example.
Hi, Michael Hopkins here from the University of Manchester, along with Jakob and Steve, who are also here attending today. We have a technology called BitBrain, which is now patented, and we've just published a paper about it, which should be out soon. This is a novel machine learning technology, which is inspired by ideas from computational neuroscience and from sparse codes information theory, which allows single-shot learning, very robust against noise and problems in the data set, and particularly well suited for neuromorphic devices, event-based sensors and neuromorphic hardware. And so we are now looking around, trying to find collaborators, investors, and really see how we can bring it to market whilst it's still patented and we can do something with it business-wise.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cindy, for example.
So good morning, everyone. So I'm currently working in eBrain's company, and this workshop is quite important for me because as a new startup, eBrains needs to apply to different calls for funding and to fund the company for future. And for me, it's important to better understand the innovation part.
Okay, really good.
Thank you.
Ludovico?
Yes, hi, I'm Ludovico Silvestri from Lens, University of Florence, and we developed the technology for 3D reconstruction and analysis of biological tissue at subcellular level. And we want to apply this also, let's say, beyond the brain to, for instance, to analyze cancer tissue, to establish novel biomarkers for immunotherapy or other kind of therapies. And that's why we are also looking for some funding to raise the TRL, increase the TRL, and maybe bring this to the market. So funding, collaboration, and other.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Mr. Armstrong?
Hi, I'm Douglas Armstrong, University of Edinburgh. We have a large-scale comprehensive database on synapse proteomics, which are, in short term, are drug targets, and we're interested in financial models for the kind of long-term sustainability of the project. Spin-out might not be appropriate. I've done a couple of spin-outs already, but I'm always open to doing another one, which I guess is probably suggests it was a good outcome. But thanks.
All right, and then I'm seeing some participants who don't have the cameras on, and I don't know if they'll be eager to speak up. If you are so, please just turn your camera on and speak up. So I have, for example, Bert here.
Yes, hello, good morning. I'm Bert Monna. I'm one of the co-founders of Phosphenix. I'm here together with my colleague Lisa, and we are developing a brain implant to give back rudimentary sight for blind people. And we are now, well, we have our first pre-seed money to have a first start, but we are looking for investors and partners to get to the market with maybe a long trajectory.
All right, perfect. Martin, would you like to take the floor?
Sure. So my name is Martin Telefont. I work with Cindy and Stephen and Guillermo. My responsibility in that configuration is mostly maintaining a view on the different solutions offered by eBrains, solutions that might come on eBrains, and solutions that might be developed together with other organizations. And again, it's a dual interest. One is how can we help organizations in this journey that they're on? And the second one is really be able to develop a filter to identify things where you'd say, well, that's a good idea. Why don't we push it this way rather than the other way? Thanks.
All right, perfect. Reinder?
Sorry, I just joined, so.
So just present yourself and why are you attending this workshop?
I'm attending this workshop because I'm, from a management perspective, I'm looking more into the funding opportunities for our own lab, and especially in the coming eBrains periods. So I was hoping to pick up some extra information on this matter for us and for our partners in the Netherlands.
All right. Jens?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm from University of Trier. I'm here together with Sebastian Spreitzer, and we are developing a software for creating spiking neural networks and executing simulations, and would be interested if there are some opportunities in funding in an educational context or in an artificial intelligence context.
All right. So far, I see no more cameras turned on. Anyone? Yeah, Mr. Farber. You can also introduce yourself if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm Steve Ferber at University of Manchester, here with Michael and Jakob to look into BitBrain opportunities. I've been involved in sort of 8 or 10 spin-outs and startups in my long time at Manchester. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here today. Julia, I'm seeing you. Michael Denker also. Julia, for example, first.
Yeah, but we are together with Michael, so I can start. Maybe Michael can continue. We are working in a project that we name Cobra WAP. That is an analysis. It is a software tool for that analysis focused on wave activity and wave dynamics in the cortex, in the brain. So the reason why we are here is to learn how we can put together the scientific community audience, so the scientific community target with other targets, other audience that can join the project or support it or make it increase its TRL. So maybe Michael can add something.
Yes, hello, this is Michael Denker from Forschungszentrum Jülich. So I don't really have much to add. So yeah, so I think this is really our interest, how to basically bring these types of workflow approaches, building across different scales in contact with these types of opportunities for funding. Thanks.
All right.
I think that Petra, Ashley, Fabian, and Emmanuel are the ones that are left.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm here just out of interest to learn something new about the funding mechanisms. I am developing the virtual brain cloud simulation framework in the cloud in eBrains, and the health data cloud, a solution for sensitive health data.
All right, thank you so much. And 2 more left. No one speaks.
Ashley?
Ashley?
Hello, I can give you a quick introduction. I'm working in the tech transfer team at IBEC. It is the Bioengineering Institute of Catalonia. I'm working with Dr. Paul Gorostisa, and we have some technology regarding the neurological devices or compounds. So that's why I'm interested in this workshop today.
All right.
And this is Fabian. Hello. I'm working with Autonomio, Swiss-based neuro-rehabilitation startup, about 2 years away from market entry and looking for funding on that journey.
Perfect.
And Emmanuel? Well, I think that I think everyone has been more or less presented. So,
all right, so we can start. So basically, why do we wanted to make this short introduction about everyone who is involved in the workshop? Because you are here not only because you like to make an impact on the scientific community, which is your community, but also on society at large. And normally in Europe, it's way more difficult than it is, for example, in the US, to actually gather all this talent and see that there's a lot of people interested in doing this kind of stuff. And even though you are working in really different technologies from each other, in your path to actually going to market, you face very similar challenges. And so we believe that being some of you or most of you, the ones who are going to participate in the bootcamp, it will be really useful to introduce to each other so that you know, to even talk about the challenges you're facing, the stages you are in, and we'll try to gather advice and experiences from the rest of us. So let's continue with the workshop. Where we want to help with this workshop and precisely with what we're offering today. So basically, any HPP researcher or developer, manager, scientist in general who is eager to market their results but don't know where to start, or anyone who is actually need to exploit the results, that is basically every one of you, but are also trying to explore new ways of doing so. And here there's a very interesting fact that is biotech startups fundraising reached historical records in 2020, both in the US and here at the European Union. You see different, of course, numbers, but still historical records in both places. So what are we offering then? What we are offering to you is this workshop, and this workshop is nothing else but a translation of the report we produced on the possibilities of the startup world, in particular of the fundraising associated to the startup. This workshop, you are going to be introduced, and with the report, you will discover that there's a lot of noise around the concept of a startup, but it's easily clearable, that you will get a comprehensive approach to a startup's fundraising stages, agents and instruments. And finally, because we want you to take action and actually be the ones, as you are already having that interest in boosting your entrepreneurial opportunities, to take action and explore a list of more than 100 potential investors. All right, so let's start. I will be your speaker today. I have a background in physics and nanophysics, and then because I didn't like the laboratory, I moved to innovation economics and management. And I'm right now working as a market analyst just for 2 days more because I'm moving to a new position in the human brain front. What are we going to speak today? So first of all, the concept of a startup, then we'll go to the startup fundraising and talk about the stages, agents, and instruments. That will be really useful for you because the different different participants are in different stages of what a startup can be. So some of you are in the pre-seed stage, others in the seed. Maybe some of you are even thinking about Series A, so that'll be really useful. We'll tell you how to explore the list of more than 100 potential investors that we have in the report, and then give you some little advice to engage with investors, advice that will be quite more complemented in the following sessions till we get to that funding innovation. Okay, so let's start with the concept of startup. And I want participation from the public here. So would anyone be able or try to define the concept of a startup? Could I get any guesses from you? Don't be shy. Anyone?
Let's say a company that is creating from scratch and to bring a new concept, something completely new to something new to the market.
Okay, that is a very good definition, and that definition is hiding something that is key to the creation of a startup and to the creation of any company, which is the business model, and that is how a company creates value for itself by provisioning products in return for profit. What is the difference then between a startup and established company, any company, big company you can think about? Well, the difference is that a startup is actually not having that business model, is missing a lot of things, and they are seeking to validate, to test a business model, to improve it so that they can finally get one that works or that ideally works and start, rather than improving it, to exploiting it. That is what happens with an established company. They have an organization, they're an organization which already have that successful business model in place, and they are just focused on executing the model, of course, of improving it as they go and as they progress, but mainly on executing it just to make the profit. So the difference would be search versus execution of a successful business model. That is the main difference between a startup and established company. But what are we talking about when we refer to a business model? Well, this is one of the most traditional things in startup creation, but that's the business model canvas, and that is visualization of what a business model is. So you go into Google, search for business model canvas, and you'll see how to properly organize a business canvas, just to start to give you an idea of the different stakeholders that will take part of your startup path. So for example, you have key partners and key activities, the one you do, key resources that you need for your startup, the value propositions, how are you going to take the things you use, so the basics, and add value to that basics so that the market actually wants to buy your product, how you're managing your customer relationships, the channels through which you are selling your products, customer segments you are facing, the revenue streams, and the cost structure. These are like the very basics of what a business model should be, and so of what a startup needs to focus on. Okay. So once we know a little bit about the concept of startup, let's go into the fundraising scheme. So why is a startup fundraising necessary? Again, guesses. And I want you to relate this to the seeking, improving, and validation of a business model.
Well, I would guess developing the technology to match a market need, and then putting money into the development into the technology so that you can make it do that, and also marketing, going around talking to people and managing to get interest from people.
Mm-hmm. That's very good, but there's something missing there, and that is that you need that when you get money once, and when you get money for the second time, and when you get money for the third time, because you're going to get money in very different cycles, and in each round, in each cycle, you're going to run out of money trying to improve the technology, trying to better that business model that you have. And what you need to do with that money is invested extremely well, so that what happens is that at the end, when you run out of that money, you can go back to your investors and tell them, hey, these are my results. This is my redefined business model. This is my redefined technology. This is my new approach to market. This is what I learned. This is how I have improved the venture, the organization so far, and how I think we should be approaching this market in this new or this better way. And so what I need right now is for you to give me more money so that I can continue trying to perfection, trying to get that business model better. And this happens round after round, cycle after cycle. And of course, if you're successful, you'll get till the point, and there are many rounds. So you'll get the pre-seed, the seed, the Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D. There are even sometimes Series till E. And then you, the investors that have invested in your company will sell their participation, and ideally you'll go into the stock market many times. This is one of the models. There are also other models who don't rely on private investing that much, and they try to push the startup, push the venture with public funding. That is also feasible. It's maybe much more complicated, but there's sometimes when entrepreneurs, scientific entrepreneurs, think that it'll be better controlling their product, because when private capital enters, normally you need to follow their directions because they're capitalist partners, right? But there's also that other option, and that is something for you to consider. We'll speaking about that until the book comes. So this is the basic scheme of startup fundraising. You have an idea, you have a preliminary business model. You go to investors, present the idea to them. They agree or not agree. If they agree, they give you funds to better that idea and perfectionate the model. And that in cycles until you have something that works, and you execute the model and make money out of that. Very easily said, this takes some years. So stages, we said this happens in cycles, in stages. The three main ones, which are the ones in which this report focuses, and the ones that clearly matter to you because of the stages in which you're in, are the pre-seed, the seed, and the Series A stages. And we'll talk about each of them throughout the presentation and also in the report. So who are the agents giving you money in each of these stages? So basically, in the pre-seed stage, if you're a tech company, normally imagine whatever app you have in your mobile phone. What happens is that it is the founders and what it's called the family, friends, and fools, the ones putting the money to make that idea progress. What happens is that when you go into a scientific company, this is extremely rare, not to say impossible, because the amount of money that you need to actually run the business and so to progress with your technology can normally only be covered by public funding. And that's why here you have all the national agencies funding that you may know about. We're not going to enter into that because this will be infinite. And for the sake of keeping the interest of all of you, what we are going to talk about is about European funding. And there is a lot of funding available, as we will see, not only for making your technology progress, but also for you to getting it to the market. So to build network contacts, exposing you to investors, and that is really, really important. That in the pre-seed. If we then go to the seed, we'll see that the figure called business angels, we define it in a minute, is the main actor here. Then the national agencies, of course, there's still European money, and there it appears these two concepts of the incubator and the accelerator, which we'll see them again, but basically they are meant to get you from the concept to the startup, exposing you to a lot of investors and contacts, again, what some of the European public instruments are trying to do. And then when you go to the series and the further series, what you have are venture capital funds, which is private funds investing in you in exchange for stocks, participations on your company. And we'll only cover the purely venture capital funds, which are the Series A, because we believe these are the ones that interest you the most. Then you have banks, hedge funds, they invest way farther in time, okay? All right, so let's start with the first agents. We'll go to the seed ones. These ones will not comment them any further because as I've said, they are not so much relevant for scientific startups. So talking about business angels and venture capital. What is a business angel? A business angel is basically someone that has a lot of money, normally with business experience, and that can syndicate to invest in money. These, according to the definition of the Commission, these high net worth individuals are individuals that make more than 200K a year, and just because they don't want that to be stopped in the bank losing a value because of inflation, they invested. When we say that they sometimes syndicate, is that several business angels come together, and what they do is they decide to follow the investment decisions of a single business angel. So they put resources together and invest all the resources as if they were a single investor. Okay, is this an important figure in what in the investment world? It actually is. For example, in 2020, European business angel investment rounds involve a lot of money. And when we say a lot of money, it's millions and millions and millions. And what is very positive is that half of those investment rounds, half of those tickets were between the 100K and the €500,000. And that could be quantities of interest for you in the stages that you are right now at this moment. You can access a list of over 120 business angels that have been supported by European public funder in our report. So you should be now thinking, how is it that private investor has been supported by European public funding? Well, it normally happens that when public institutions try to pick winners, they fail. And because the Commission has understood this, what they've done is they are pulling resources together with private business angels. They are syndicating with private business angels that they have considered to be successful investors, so that Commission can invest and also make a return out of that investment. And those business angels who have been validated by the European Commission, you have a list of them in our report here, and the venture capital. So what is a venture capital? A venture capital is basically a fund that is money which a lot of investors have pulled together, which is managed by another company, which is the management company. And so what the management company is just an intermediary between the fund, the money that they've achieved together, and some companies, some other startups that they are investing that money in. And so what happens is that the VC management, if their investments are successful, they are taking some percentage out of the winning of those investments. And this is basically the structure of a venture capital fund. Again, this is one of the most important stakeholders. And for you to see, in 2021, just in Europe, they invested 8.3 billion euros. So it's, again, a lot of money available for startups, for European startups, okay? Again, you have a list of more than 90 venture capital funds included in the report, and I should say, and some of you have inquired us about this, they are venture capital funds that have somehow showed an interest in neurotech. So those are venture capital funds that you should actually very look into if you are thinking about creating your startup, because we have selected them to put in the report. It's not that just some random venture capital fund because it's too big, it's there. No, we have checked that they have invested in neurotech companies. And as I said, the funding agents that relate to further series, we're not talking about them because we don't think they're important to you at this stage. Okay, so let's continue. We've talked about the private ones. Let's talk about the public. So basically, talking about the European Innovation Council and the 2023 update, there's a lot of money involved for startups. So there are 3 calls, and we have divided them into what the corresponding startup stage would be. That is the pre-seed, the seed, and the Series A, the Pathfinder, the transition, and the accelerator call. I'm sure most of you know about this. Again, a lot of money, and it is, for me, it's incredible that the most money is going to the accelerator, meaning that the commissioning is really looking forward to putting the scientific results it is generating into startups. Then there's, again, a lot of money into the challenges, even though the challenges have varied in 23 of the calls, and they're not so as related as health and neuro as they were in the 2022. And so, well, basically, these are the conditions. So you should, most of you maybe know about them, but it's grants, and then you have grants and equity, which basically is buying you stocks, buying you participations of your company. Again, some startups, as I already said, normally decide to try to fund themselves just with public funds. As you see, this can actually happen if you fulfill the conditions, because 15 million in equity is a lot of money for a startup. It's Series E, Series A, and Series B that can be the investment that a startup is getting. So if you would like to keep the control, complete control over your venture, maybe this is the path for you. Again, so
Alessandro, is it worth noting at this point that, of course, last week it was announced that Spin Cloud Systems have successfully got a €2.5 million EIC grant, and that's to develop Spinnaker 2, which is an HPP output. So the people at TU Dresden know about how to succeed in this system.
Okay, that is really interesting information. Thank you so much for sharing it, because I guess that if anyone is also interested in maybe trying to go for one of these calls, they could actually refer to you and talk to you a little bit more about how to actually succeed.
Yeah, it was led by Christian Mayer at Dresden. I was not directly involved, just in a minor supporting role.
Yeah, okay. Maybe to add, so I'm also involved in a recently granted EIC project, which was successful. It's under the lead of Paul Verschoor at the Radboud University, and it also involves the health data cloud and the brain simulation in the cloud.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing this information, and congratulations for actually getting those grants. So yeah, as you see, there is money and public money coming into HPP projects for developing them, and there's always that option of not going into private money. Then talking about the challenges, as I was telling you, the challenges have varied a little bit, and so the ones that I could find more related to somehow the Human Brain Project were the responsible electronics and the precision nutrition challenges, maybe a little bit side, but then in the transition challenges, some of you may actually find it really interesting to go into the micro and bio devices for medical research applications. That we really, for some of you who have talked about molecular and going to pharma and so on, could be interesting to you, and the chip scale optical frequency comps. I don't know if it could also be interesting maybe for those of you developing neuromorphic computing. Could be a little bit side to side, but I included them there just in case. And finally, in the accelerator challenges, novel biomarker-based assays to guide personalized cancer treatment challenge. As I said, these challenges are migrating to focus mainly on what Horizon Europe defined as their missions, and ending cancer was one of them. So here we have the reflect of that. And then it's not only that the European Innovation Council offers a lot of money, but they also offer a core set of business acceleration services. And Guillermo, for example, knows more about this, and we are actually trying to gather all of them in a list because there's so many that it's very difficult to have them all. But you have coaching to attend business trade fairs and get to know those investors, pitch to corporates, and actually get into competitions to get money and to get that first investment, that maybe seed investment that you can need. There's a lot of instruments going on and coming to life, and we'll try to give you a list of them so that you can explore them further. Okay.
One initiative that we are planning is to have before the end of the project to have a seminar or training like the one today, with all the instruments that are available from the European Commission for coaching, mentoring, IP, management, etc. So that is a course that is in our schedule.
All right, perfect. Okay, so this is about the European Innovation Council. Yes, now about the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. There's also a lot of things, not so much about investment, but yes, about relating you to the correct. So we'll differentiate between the two communities, IT Health and IT Digital, because we believe both of them would be useful for you. And what refers to IT Health, I mean, there's a lot of things. I'm not going to mention them all or explain them all. It's just for you to see that there's a lot of opportunities. Most of these opportunities, and you see there are a lot, in whatever stage you are meant for you to get to know investors, get to know public policy, policymakers that may help you or that may actually get to know your technology and value it more in certain calls. So whatever, some competitions to give you a prize. For example, in the seed one here, you see the catapult with a price of 30K. That was reduced in 2022. The maximum price was 45K, but still is a very nice amount to actually start a venture. And in the Series A, the EIT Digital, the challenge, the digital challenge, for example, price was, I think, it was an investment of $500,000 or something like that. So it's still a lot. Again, another example that the Commission is paying attention to, trying to get the results to market. There's also a lot of Invest EU opportunities available. So Invest EU is a component of the European Investment Bank meant to help ventures and scientific results come to market. The thing is that these investments are channeled through national banks. And so for us, it was really difficult to actually include here a list that could help you all. So what we recommend you is you go to our report. You have there the link to go into the Invest EU website, and there you can check whether what are the national banks of your country that are actually channeling these Invest EU funding opportunities, and get to know a little bit more about them. Could also be useful for you to make that venture. Okay, all right. Then incubators and accelerators. These, even though this may help a little bit in pre-seed, these start to appear in the seed and the Series A rounds. And why? What is it? What is it that they do? So as we said, these are basically organizations that are meant for, let's say, whose objective is to take our results and get it to market, get it to the correct people, to the correct investors, and so on, but just privately. And so, what is their business model? How do they make money? What they do is they normally participate the startups that are that they host and that they accelerate, so that out of that, startups that can be successful, they make some return. Okay, for you to see some of the differences between an incubator and an accelerator, because some of them get mixed. Accelerators are the most competitive of them. They are very short programs meant to give you a lot of training, a lot of coaching, introducing you to a lot of networks and getting you to be running very shortly, 3 months. And that's why they're organized in cohorts. And incubators not. Incubators is just like if you were renting some space with maybe some coaching, some talks for you to get to know a little bit more about certain topics, but nothing so intense and so direct as an accelerator. That is why, as I was telling you, the business model of the accelerator is an investment, so that they can make a return out of investing in the startups that they host. Incubators is rent. Selection, as you can see, competitive cyclical. Incubators, it's not competitive. If there's space, you can go there. That's why accelerators, they because the duration of an accelerated cohort is so short, is because the ventures that they're accepting are very early ventures, seed ventures, sometimes precede Series A maximum. If the venture was to be a little bit more advanced, they would not have anything to give to that venture, so that it is interested in being hosted. In incubators, they don't care, because as I was telling you, it's just you rent some space and they give you some information, there's some training, but nothing really more important. And basically, this is the scheme: education seminars, and the incubators give you education about human resources and legal matters, mainly mentorship, really intense in accelerators, minimal and tactical in incubators. Now we've seen the agents. Let's the stages, then the agents. Let's finish with the instruments. So what are the main instruments that startups use to fundraise? If we talk about the public ones, the ones that you have at the bottom, you know them almost: grants, loans, and warranties. And if we go to the seed, then you have quasi-equity and equity. That might be a little bit off for you at this stage, but you very easily get into it. And if you go to the private ones, it's just bootstrapping, something that I'm sure you will not do, because bootstrapping means you try to save as much money as you do, pay bills as late as you can, so that you can have flow cash running for your startup to be alive and to be kept alive. But again, in that pre-seed stage, you probably don't need that, because you'll be feeding from public funds. Then crowdfunding. Some of you may get may find this interesting. I don't know. Depends on your case. But then if we go to the seed, and even in the pre-seed, we are talking about quasi-equity and equity. And then in Series A, B, and C, mainly equity. Loans and warranties also, if you get to a bank, but that would be Series D, Series C, Series D. So the main instrument that I'm going to talk to you about right now is quasi-equity and equity. And that means basically that someone is participating in your company, is getting stocks of your company. So the different instruments, basic classification. Yes. So first of all, is debt, and you know what debt is. Is basically you ask for a loan, someone gives you the money, and in return, you pay with the accrued interest. Apart from the loan, you will also see that some, European institutions are trying to push warranties. What is a warranty? So basically, is the institution saying that in case you cannot pay the accrued interest, they'll cover you in case of that default. That is basically what a warranty means. Maybe what your parents did when you bought your first house. I don't know. With the same, but with European institutions. Equity. Equity is basically that once you have your startup running, what you do is you give some parts of that startup to the investors. So some stocks, some participation, and in return you get the money. And what is most used nowadays to invest in startups in these first stages, so seed and Series A, is quasi-equity, and in particular convertible bonds. So a convertible bond is basically a loan, but that you pay with stocks. Why? Because you are getting the money from an investor with the promise that you will be able to use that money to create an added value, and so that added value would then be sold for as stocks for some money, and so that because those stocks are going to cost more than the investment that this investor is doing, the investor is going to take that investment back, but in the form of stocks, because he will be interested in actually having that participations in your company. However, you may not be able, or might not be able, to get or to add that value to the product, to your company. And so if time runs out, because this is a contract in which you get the money and you say, okay, I'm getting 20K, and I'm promising you that in 1 year time, you'll be getting these stocks valued, each stock at this price. If I am not able to pay you in stocks because they are not priced as I promised you they would be, this is still a contract. It turns out to be a loan. You need to get the money back with the accrued interest that was agreed at the moment of the contract signing. Okay. And you can find some more. These are the basic ones, but you can find some more in the report. So how to explore the list, now that we're coming to this end, of more than 100 potential investors that you have in the report. Things that you need to have in mind. First of all, be aware of the location. Why? Because the nearer the investor is to you, the more probable it is that the investment is happening. Even though you still need to know that because of the single market or the almost single market that Europe has, the European market is a little bit different and maybe cross-border to some investors. Some other investors don't even care about the location. So for example, I was 3 weeks ago in the European Business Angel Summit in Barcelona, and there was this American investor who told me, no, I'm going all over the world. And if I see something that is worthy of my investment, I just push money on it. So, but normally it is important. The more money investors have, the less important the location becomes, but still something to take. The specialization of the investors. So in this list that we're giving you, it is not that all investors will fit to your technology, because some of them may be interested in devices, some of them may be interested more in chemistry. So you need to, when you're exploring it, you need to take into account that specific thing and that if it's your industry or not. Normally, investors specialize in industries. Again, the more money they have, the more industries they are willing to explore. Development phase of the startups, that is also really important, as we've seen not the same investors like to invest in the same stages of the startup. So no, the investor you're targeting, and according to the stage in which your venture is, because you may write into one and they will tell you back, do you have 1 million traction? That is, are you able to get 1 million of revenue? And you'll say, hey, no, I have not. Then that investor will not be interested in you, and you'll be losing your time and that investor's time. But I mean, mainly your time. What matters here is your time. And the reputation of the investor, and you can ask previously funded startups, which it'll be really easy for you to access them, because they all have a portfolios of the startups that they have, the ones that they have still participations on, and the ones that they have exit, which means they have already sold the participations they had, the stocks they had of that companies, and you can ask them. It's very easy if you go into LinkedIn and look for the startups board. So some advice to engage with investors, again, very simple. We'll give you more content on this before the book happens. So know your market. That is really important, your competitors and what makes you different from them. And you know that for the sake of helping you with this, the HPP innovation team has developed some market analysis of your technologies, and we hope that you can use them in this first part of initiating a venture. Then also that a warm introduction through a common contact is recommended. And you may be thinking now, yeah, but I don't know any investors. It is not that easy for me. But as I was telling you and I have been showing you throughout the presentation, the European Union is already creating a lot of events for you to be introduced to those investors. So don't oversee them. Don't think, oh yeah, but this is just a thing of networking. It's not that important. No, it may be some of the most important things, some of the most important events that you're gonna participate in, because those events may be actually the key to open you access to a lot of money in form of investments, private investments. So take that into account and be aware that networking is basic in this startup world. So, of course, prepare a pitch, as a description of your venture. What is it that you do? How is it that it adds value? How is it that it differentiates you from the competitors that may exist in your market? And very important, and Guillermo will talk more about this, but in this European Business Angel Summit that I was telling you some minutes ago, in the corridor chats, investors, business angels were talking a lot about impact washing, because this was an impact investment summit. That means investors were not only looking for financial profit, but they were also looking for their investment having an impact on society, and not because just they were trying to fulfill some corporate social responsibility. No, it's because, I mean, and you hear it from, I heard it from their personal stories. They really wanted to make a difference with their investments. And so what they were complaining is that a lot of ventures, a lot of startups would come to them and tell them, yes, so I am having an impact on this, I'm having an impact on that. But at the very end, that would not be true. And so they were thinking about how can we how can we actually differentiate if a startup who is claiming to make an impact is actually making that impact or not? For you as scientists, this should be really easy, at least from my perspective, because you justify what the impact is in every single call, in every single project that you ask for to a public institution. You need to justify how what you are going to do is going to advance the state of the art. And basically, this is what these investors want, these impact investors, which are some of the ones that will be contacting you throughout the bootcamp. What they want to know is, how is it that you're going to make that impact? How is it that you're going to make a difference? And precisely the impact they are looking for is not a scientific impact. So it is not that, yes, I am going to advance the state of the art of this certain field or certain technology by doing this. No, it is, I'm going to advance the state of the art of how technology makes an impact on this. And how can you do that? Well, it's just moving the justifications, the explanations that you give for a scientific project as comparing your advancement with the state of the art, with the scientific state of the art, with the impact state of the art. And the benchmark that you can use for that is the Sustainable Development Goals. So comparing how your technology is gonna make an advancement on the matters that concern Sustainable Development Goals. For some of you, this may not be easy because your technologies, I'm thinking about, for example, the light sheet microscopy is very fundamental, and so it may impact a lot of domains and a lot of Sustainable Development Goals. But still, if you can get 2 or 3 of them and say, this is going to make an impact on this, and it's going to better this situation by doing this and this and that, and that will really catch their attention. So just for you to think about, again, we'll give you more material on this on the following weeks and months. And then you may be thinking, my technology is amazing. I don't want anyone else to know about it, until they have decided that they would like to invest. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. So at the beginning of this century, some venture capital funds would actually sign those non-disclosure agreements. That doesn't happen anymore. So take into account that when an investor comes, a venture capital fund comes, and they're telling you, I need to evaluate your company, your venture, before actually making the decision of investing on it, because I need to know that you're doing things right, not only scientifically or technologically, but also financially and so on. The most probable thing is that they will not be willing to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So take that into it. And with this, I am done. We'll send you the report updated to the 2023 version. The one you can find on the website is 2022. And with this, I'm open to questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alejandro. So, very interesting talk, as we can see from the people. Thank you very much. Any questions on the floor?
I guess I would ask, as we're coming to the actual boot camp at the end of May, there's a lot to think about in that talk. There's a lot of interesting information in there in terms of how to find investment, how to put yourself forward, what the correct kind of investment is, and such. In the report, as well as laying out the investors and the information, is there any guidance available? If you once you describe yourself, the nature of your idea and what you currently have, is there any one-to-one guidance available before we actually come to the bootcamp?
Do you want to answer or I answer?
So in the report itself, you don't have that guidance to actually how to put yourself and let's say how to sell yourself to an investor. No, that is not there. It's more like how to say it, like reference manual for you to know about the funding.
Sure. Yeah, that's very useful. But is there any opportunity to engage with you guys before we come to the bootcamp to try and refine the offer?
Yeah, it's planned to do that before the date. Yes, for sure. Okay. You will be supported by us. Although the report has only the information that Alejandro has delivered, but we will help you in the process to arrive to the event, just with the guidelines already clear, and the questions that the questions that need to be highlighted and in front of the investors.
Okay, thank you.
Julia?
Yeah, thank you. So first, thank you for your talk, your slides, and the report as well, because I had the opportunity to follow you were talking while I was looking at the report. So thank you. My question actually is, since I am an employee in basically public institute, because I'm from a research institute, the Italian Research Institute. Actually, I have a small, say, zero room for movement when it's time for talking with people outside the scientific community or the national or in European funding agencies. So this is why, because we have at INFN, and from INFN, Istituto Nazionale di Fisica Nucleare, we have a service for technology transfer and innovation. Let's say there are people that are employed there. And we as INFN researchers have to move through their directions. So my question is, do you think there is an interest maybe coming also from different institutes that are joining the HPP and the Brains Consortium, an interest of put in contact our national services with you as eBrain service, so focused on the neurotech or brain tech, in order to receive, I mean, the people that are working, in my case, in the Italian Institute, to receive your directions and try to match them with their own. I don't know if I've been clear in my question, if this is a need that comes from Italy only, or other people in the audience today have similar feelings. So what do you think? Is there room for trying an engagement of those services, those national services with you? Because as a researcher, I'm pretty glad to receive your training, but I see that I have to speak with those people, and maybe the best is to those people in contact with you rather than having me as an intermediate. And of course, I'm not able to carry all the, I mean, the entire pieces of information to them.
I can give you an answer to this. Well, we are a complement of the TTOs in each institution. That is as a definition. We are an innovation team that complement the interaction and the support that you eventually will receive or can receive from the TTOs in the different institutes. What happens normally is that not everybody is lucky to, as you having some TTOs available and willing to help you and so on. Normally, there is plenty of universities or institutes that have already make the claim that normally they are not very well supported by the TTOs, because normally the technology transfer offices in the institutions are fully booked with another lots of scientific areas to cover. So what we do in HVP has been, we have done, it's a substitution or complementation of these services that you could get from there. But in any case, what in these cases, when you have identified, you need in your plans the idea of making a startup, for example, like in this case, and you want us to interact to see how we can together work to help you in the future to make a startup. For us, we are happy to do that. It's not a problem. We don't want, in fact, to substitute you and just to contact with them without your main role there. We want that you can manage both the help that we provide and the services that they can also provide. You are in the middle. It's not that you will forget about the initiative and let both of us both of us in charge of your plan. So what you need to do is to talk with them, to inform them about what we are doing to support you, and we can start to interact with them as well to see to what extent they, for example, see that something that they are offering could be building on what we are doing, for example, in the bootcamp that we are organizing in May. But what is needed to be understood is that as soon as you have some innovation offices close to you in your institution, you need to make use of them, especially because the Human Brain Project is in the final stage. So after September, this kind of services that we are providing will be not available anymore. Independently that we, for some time, we could, for example, monitor or helping you in not in so formal way to maintain the conversations that eventually could start here in the bootcamp with the investors, because the investors dialogues with them will take months to get to some particular definition or specific support, capital support. But we can help you in this process. But this is not our duty after September to be willing for or caring for your startups progress and your startup initiative. I think it's clear, Julia.
Yeah, perfect. So I mean, the main question was if it is possible to establish a contact between you and this national service, and the reply is yes, considering that the idea is to work together. Because as I said, we are obliged to move inside this framework. So it is, I believe, quite fruitful for our side that you people involved on these topics can have an opportunity to meet or to share information. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
And also from one thing that Julia asked, one of the parts of her question was, I don't have time to actually relate outside my scientific community. We understand that. It is not that we expect you to become researchers and educators and then also entrepreneurs, unless you want to do that. That is up to you, but we understand that is really complicated, that it happens. And that is why we are also inviting to the event one of the innovation heads of one of Europe's top business schools, so that in case you are interested not in leading the startup, but leading only the scientific part of what could become your venture, you can also access, if the school is interested, of course, you could have that access to potential CEOs for your startup. More questions?
Actually, I have a curiosity about you said the quasi-equity system of funding. When you say that if the stock is enough, is valued enough, then they get back the stock as to pay the loan or the money. But who decide if it's enough? I mean, the company must be on a stock market, or if it's not yet on the stock market, which is maybe the case for startups, at least in the first year.
So no startup goes to the stock market. So let me go to the, just for you to see better. So here, you're seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
So in the further series, you would get here what is called an IPO, which is an initial public offering, and that is the moment when you offer your stocks in a stock market, as could be Nasdaq, for example. Until that moment, you only offer your stocks to these investors, which are private investors. That means you invite the investors to come to see you and to invest in you, and then they decide if they want to invest, and you decide if you want to accept their investment. When the IPO happens, when this initial public offering happens, and you go to a stock market, you don't decide on that. Your company is there, and whoever wants can buy one stock of your company. Then who decides on if that the value is, if you have added enough value and so on, and if you have done so, what is the monetary value of that effort that you've had? The boards of the investors. So basically, in the first term, the business angels, when you get to Series A, Series B, they exit. They say, this is not of my interest anymore. I've already made a profit. And when venture capital funds enter, the managing boards of those venture capitals are the ones evaluating you and telling, okay, I'm valuing your startup in 1 million, and I want to enter with a 20% participation. That means I'm giving you 200K.
Okay.
Or you could go to the board and say, I'm not gonna allow you, so to say, because I know that my product is really good, I'm not gonna allow you to set the valuation for my startup. I'm telling you that I'm valuing my startup in 5 million, and I want a 10%. And if they believe that getting a 10% of your company for 500,000 is too much, they'll say, no, that valuation doesn't fit me. Or if they do, they'll buy. But it's a negotiation that you have with the boards of the venture capital management.
Okay, thanks.
Is not any other question in the room?
Well, could you have these slides, because they have so much valuable information?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, something in the chat. Ask the slides.
About the slides
for
also.
Recording. Will be shared. Okay.
And then thank you.
Well, I have to say something. Well, first, thank you to everyone for coming to this course, and a special thanks to Alejandro that has after this excellent work that he did after on the funding and other plenty of areas in our team. I have to say that, and I wish him a very, very good luck in his new life stage, because he has won a very strong position in the Spanish government in IT, innovation, etc. Very soon. So he will be with us until tomorrow. So I want you please to thank him very, very, very much for his extraordinary work in HBB. We are very proud to have him in our team. Hopefully we will be in contact, even though he will be probably in another part of the triple helix in the system, you know, the industry, academy, government. Now he is moving to the place where decision is made at the national level. So congratulations, Alejandro, and thank you very much. If you want to give us a last talk about your expectations and how happy you are, because I know that you are like in a dream. He has been studying for this position for many years. It's a very, very difficult position that he won in almost in the first position. So Alejandro, thank you very much.
Oh, wow, I wasn't expecting this. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, it was a pleasure to take part in the Human Brain Project because I have always been such a European enthusiast, and actually taking part in a European project was really cool to discover the insights of how the union works and how a scientific project works, having that scientific background, even though I'm not doing science anymore. The team was so nice working with you. I really enjoy it. I think we did a lot of things that have a lot of value. The European culture is not always promoting going to market as I think it should, and I believe in that path to actually trying to get the American mentality of getting things out to market and achieving that they have a real impact in society and not only are marketized as a scientific publication, which I believe is something really cool. But I mean, when things have impact in society and in citizens, who are the ones ultimately funding science, is when you get things to market. I think that in that path, we had our thing to say. We did really cool things, and I'm really thankful for you to have had me and hosted me in the innovation team of HPP. And yeah, so after these months and years of study, I'm really happy. I'm getting into the Superior Court of Information and Communication Technologies of the Spanish State Administration, so to manage ICT projects. And I'm really looking forward into it because I believe it's a very good continuation of this public service trajectory that I'm having, and so to have a little bit more responsibilities and so on. And so yeah, really thankful and really happy.
Okay, thank you, Alejandro. So probably in the future you will be one of the that will take the decision to fund any next initiative. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Any other comment around? So next step will be to be in contact with the ones that are going to attend the event in May. So we will have individual meetings to prepare yourself, your work and your introduction. The event will be something that will not will especially basically will require that you have very clear idea of what you want to do in the future with your startup. But we will get into details very soon. So thank you very much for your time, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.